We're live on YouTube now, Chair.
Fantastic, thanks, Joe. Morning, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Joint Archives Committee. I'm Councillor Stephen Hill. I'm the Exec Member for Culture and Communities at Middlesbrough Council, and I'm the new chair of this panel, having taken over from Councillor Smiles. What I thought we might do is just go around the room, just introduce ourselves, because obviously I don't know any of you, you don't know any of me. So if we start, I'll just go down my list on the screen. If we start with Joanne.
Sorry, I'm Jo McNally. I'm a Democratic Services Officer and I'm doing the tech side of the meeting today.
Thanks, Jo. Susie.
Morning, everyone. I'm Susie Blood and I'm Democratic Services Officer. Thank you.
Jim.
Hi, I'm Councillor Jim Beale. I'm from Stockton-on-Tees and I'm the Cabinet Member for Health, Leisure and Culture.
Fantastic. Laura.
Hi, I'm Laura Case. I'm Head of Culture and Tourism at Redcar and Cleveland Borough Council.
Fantastic. Leanne. I think we've lost Leanne. Margaret.
Oh, hello, I'm Margaret Wilson, Councillor at Redcar and Cleveland for St Germain's Ward in Mask, and I'm subbing for Louise Westbury.
Fantastic, thank you, Councillor, for joining us. Mark.
Hello, I'm Mark Freeman. I'm Libraries and Information Services Manager in Stockton-on-Tees.
Fantastic. Paul.
Good morning, and I'm Paul Shout. Title is Finance Business Partner, Middlesbrough Council.
Richard.
Good morning, Richard Horniman, Director Regeneration at Middlesbrough Council.
Ruth.
Leanne's just messaged me. I'm just a message to say it's having problems with the connection. She's the Deputy Head of Culture.
Fantastic. That's fine.
Chair, I had a problem with Ruth's volume. I don't know whether she wants to turn it up or something.
Oh, sorry, Ruth, do you just want to repeat that?
If you can't hear me, I'll put my headset on. I'm Ruth Robbins, I'm the Archives Manager. And I just said that Leanne Nichols, Deputy Head of Culture for Middlesbrough, and she said she's having problems with her connection.
That's fine. Thanks, Ruth. And finally, Veronica.
Hello, I'm Veronica Nicholson, the Conservative Councillor for Hartlepool.
Thanks, Councillor. Okay, so we'll start with the agenda. Agenda item number 1, apologies for absence. Susie, do you have any?
Thank you, Chair. We have apologies from Councillor Westbury and Charlotte Nichols. Thank you.
Thanks, Susie. Item number 2, declarations of interest. Do we have any of those? I'll take that as a no. Thank you. Agenda item 3, minutes from the last meeting, the 27th of October 2021. Can we all agree they're a true record? I'll take that as a yes. And on to agenda item number 4, the Joint Archives budget. And I think, Paul, are you delivering this?
I wasn't intending to, Stephen. I thought Ruth was going to. I can.
Ruth, did you want to do it?
I also hadn't expected to. I thought Richard was doing it.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it, Councillor Hill.
Somebody do it, please.
I'll do it. I didn't take the step backwards quickly enough. Right. Okay. Has everybody got access to the spreadsheet that was provided, or do I need to share it on the screen? I'll share it on the screen if I can. Just bear with me, please.
While you're setting that up, Paul, are you happy to take questions during?
I am, yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'm not. Right, so apologies, I've got on the wrong one. Bear with me. Okay, hopefully everybody can see that now. It doesn't have a title, but it's got on the left-hand side, it's got cost centre 122-221 and archives. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yes, thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so it's presented with respect to the current budget on column F, the actuals that were incurred as at towards the end of January 2022. Now, we chose not to update the actuals because everybody had previous access to it, so I didn't want to be providing things that had evolved from that point. Obviously, we're coming towards very close to the end of the financial year, so we'll be able to close the accounts and the actuals will be updated accordingly. And then we've got, I guess, what's the greater interest to everybody, the 2022-23 proposed budget. There, within the income section, there is one quite significant change with respect to the budget from 21-22 to 22-23, and that's an increase of £13,000 with respect to the amount of fees and charges that the Archive Service are intending to achieve in 2022-23, and that is with respect to recovery and retrieval costs that will be incurred as a consequence of the move of the predominantly most of the archives to a site which is off-site from the archives itself. So the archives will be incurring costs, and wherever possible, we'll be trying to retrieve them costs from the people that are asking for the services. Richard, have you got a question?
Sorry, it was probably more of a statement, Paul. Just in case anybody reads that note in column H too literally, that's based on us charging for stuff that is appropriate to charge for on a commercial basis. And it doesn't rule out that we would charge the general public for anything, but we're not planning on charging for normal stuff. But there may be further charges if people want extra or people want things quicker, but presumably we'll have a charging policy that will reflect that. It's just so nobody takes that too literally, that there's not a single charge that the general public would ever have to pay.
Can I just point out at this stage that I can only see 4 people on the screen that I've got available to me. So if anybody does have any questions, then if they wouldn't mind just calling out, and then I'll be able to answer them.
Okay, then. I did put my hand up, but just a confirmation that the local authorities, if they have reason to recall stuff from the archives, retrieve stuff from the archives, there won't be a recharge to the participating local authorities.
Do you want me to answer that, Paul? It's probably unfair to just leave that one for you.
Yes, please.
That's correct. That we wouldn't expect anybody to pay for that. No, it's more for when people are using it for commercial purposes and other things like that. Obviously, partners is different.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that because it's a new arrangement, isn't it? With off-site storage, etc.
Okay. If it's okay to move on to the pay section, at the time of providing this in the first instance, the councils were not aware of what the pay award was going to be. So there's a statement within the notes that says it was assumed 2% uplift for 2021-22. As we're aware, the actual pay increase was 1.75%. So there'll be a slight difference with respect to the 2021-22 element. However, this is the 2022-23 budget, and nobody has any idea at this moment in time what the pay increase is going to be for local government employees. Again, we're assuming 2%. Looking at the way that inflation is going, the 2% may or may not be an appropriate assumption at this stage. There's not a great deal over that we can do with that, unfortunately. As you can see, other than that statement there, there's not an incredible difference between the current budget and the 2022-23 budget for employees. The next section, premises. This is where there's quite a difference between the 2021-22 budget and the 2022-23 proposed. And obviously the greater difference is the archives are now moving into the dormant, so the organisation won't be paying any external charges with regards to building related costs. Within the rent section, there's £12,000, which is what Middlesbrough Council have currently assumed would be the appropriate charge to the other local authorities with regard to the running costs, etc., that are associated with the Dorman Museum. Just to flag up with that, it is an estimate at this moment in time. We won't properly understand until the archives is fully situated and we've had some time to understand what the actual costs are going to be. Transport, nothing really to say there. There was some transport costs incurred in 2021-22. I genuinely don't know what they are, but it's £290. Supplies and services. The greater difference with the budget from supplies and services from 2021-22 to 2022-23 is the line that I'm highlighting here, and that's the removals, relocations and storage proposed budget, and that is for the costs for the temporary storage relocation of the archive inventory, now that we've moved the inventory itself off outside of the archives building itself. One other thing to point out, whilst it's not budgeted, the line that I've highlighted here, the actuals is minus £17,417. That is the amount of money that, after the reconciliation of the 2020-21 accounts, was recognised as being owed back to the fellow over local authority partners, and that sits there for, I suppose, decisions as to whether or not it can be reinvested in the archives, or in fact it is provided back to the other local authority partners. That's it from me, I believe, but obviously open to questions from anybody if they care to ask them.
Thanks, Paul. Is there any more questions? No?
Chair.
Fantastic, thank you.
Chair.
Councillor Bill, sorry.
So it's not a question. It's just a comment. I found the layout, and I did send an email to Susie to this effect. That I found the layout of the spreadsheet to be much more accessible than the previous formats. I could understand the budget a lot better, and I thank the officers for making that accommodation.
Yes, Councillor Beale. The first iteration, look, it as I'd mentioned previously, I'd considered it more of a working paper, and when I understood that it was going to be presented to the rest of the committee, clearly it needed some additional input to help everybody to understand it. And I'm pleased that you did find the second iteration, I should say, more easily digestible.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you for jumping in there as well at short notice. Is there any more questions? No? Fantastic. We'll move on to agenda item 5, the service level agreement. I think that'll be Ruth, is it?
So on the service level agreement is that it's due to be re-signed because it's a 5-year agreement and it's up for renewal. I left it with legal services some time ago, and I haven't had any feedback. So I assume if everyone is in agreement, it can stay as it is, or the heads of service may wish to discuss if they want to alter that.
Yeah, are we all in agreement with that? Leave that up to the head of service then. Can you bring it back to the next meeting, Ruth, if it's done by then? Just let everyone know.
Certainly, because I know that Charlotte Nichols was wanting to make changes to how it's done, but we haven't made any further progress.
Okay, thanks, Ruth. Is everyone happy with that?
Chair, can I just ask who Charlotte Nichols is?
Charlotte's the head of culture at Middlesbrough Council. Laura?
Thanks, Chair. I was just going to ask, is there a time scale for that? Because I don't think the heads of service, certainly I haven't seen it, the version. So is there going to be a time scale of when that's going to be shared And I assume if it needs to come back to the next meeting, it would just be good to outline that.
The service level agreement sits within legal services, so there should be a copy with each of the boroughs. But I would need to talk to Charlotte about this, because we did discuss it with our solicitor very briefly, but as I say, I haven't heard any more.
Leanne, did you want to come in on that?
Yeah, just kind of as a broader update for officers. I believe Charlotte is planning to take a version of it to the heads of service meeting as a proposal for you guys to have a look at and then take away to your members, so that when we come back to the next archives meeting, we'll have kind of all had some time to consult and get it to a point where we can agree it. But I believe that is the proposal, is that Charlotte is going to take a version to the next heads of service meeting.
Fab, thank you, Leanne. Any more questions on that? Are we good with just leaving that until the next meeting? Fantastic. Agenda item 6, Community Engagement Officer. I don't know who's doing this. Is this Ruth again?
Well, it's just a general update that was requested and it's been supplied. So I'm just happy to answer if there are any questions.
Do you have any questions on that report? No? Fantastic. That takes us to agenda item 7. Any other urgent items? I don't have any. Does anyone else have any? No? Brilliant. And that's the end of the meeting. So thank you all for coming. And we'll see you all. Oh, Richard, sorry.
Sorry, I just realised there, Chair. Obviously, the new archive within the Dorman Museum is due to open fairly soon. I don't know whether we've already made arrangements to offer people a visit or a tour, but we'll do that. We'll sort that out.
Thanks, Richard. Yeah.
Leanne's probably ahead of me already.
Leanne?
I think I probably crossed over Ruth, but we are looking for to send out invites, and it's just a pencil date for your diary. We were looking at the 25th of May for a formal kind of, I wouldn't say cutting of the ribbon, but kind of cutting of the ribbon type of day. But we will send formal invites out to you. Ruth, is that still the plan?
Yes, as far as I know, I've got that date. I just didn't have the time, and we will get a proper invite sent out.
Fantastic. Look forward to that. No more urgent items? Oh, Councillor Beale?
Sorry, I'm not used to using WebEx, so I can see there's
Councillor.
a hand there, but I'm sorry for interrupting, but it's just quicker than getting the hand up and everything. Can I just say that that 25th of May, I thought the date rang a bell with me. I've just looked in my diary. It's the date of Stockton Council's annual meeting, which is a 3-line whip attendance, as you'll all probably appreciate, and certainly the members will appreciate. So I don't know how thick is that pencil. I just wondered if you could consider another date, or I'll come along another time. And
Is there a time on that meeting, Councillor Beale?
There is, but the meeting tends to be about 11 o'clock, the annual meeting. It's not an evening meeting like the normal councils, because it's the investiture of the mayor, and because we have a civic mayor as opposed to a directly elected mayor, etc. And so you can normally rule the day out, because we have to get over to Billingham early.
We'll certainly send round if that is a no-go for you. Then we'll have a chat.
Could you do one of them doodle things?
We can do doodle poll.
I have to not get it mixed up with Wordle. I found a new one called Quordle, which is really much more interesting than Wordle. Have a look at it.
I have to look that up.
QU Ordle.
Brilliant. I'll be trying that this afternoon. Thank you, Councillor Beale. Any more urgent items?